back home and then said, let's make a 30-minute show out of this. And I told y'all, that's a technique. It's not a great technique to shoot hours of footage and then go back and condense it to try to make something make sense. So by all these pre-takes that they did and retakes and all these different voiceovers, they were able to say, okay, we're going to take Scot and we're going to put him in this situation. We're going to film this footage and then we're going to make it look like the mother-in-law is interfering. He's angry at the mother-in-law. But at the end, he always saves the day and everybody's happy and it goes off. There's our story. Now let's take our footage and let's make it make the story. Versus starting with a plan and saying, I want to accomplish this, 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 and this, and going out and shooting that, and you go back to edit and you've already got your plan. Right. So that would be my critique of the show, is and I think that's affected the success because one episode to the other didn't have a central theme that puts you in any kind of light. Versus the other Food Network shows, Bobby Flay, Paula, and just the fact that was on Food Network
was not a good thing.
And then what's interesting, if you go back and watch the later episodes of the show, all of a sudden Scott's talking about chicken fingers. It's just like...
And I was going to bring that up. What happened, we filmed 16 months to do season 1.
Yeah.
Okay, then I get an email saying, hey, the network wants more food because now it's on Food Network. I'm not and that's the other thing somebody thinks I'm a chef. I still go places, they're like, there's that famous chef. I'm like, I can't even cook microwave grilled cheese toast or whatever. But anyway, so the network comes back, we need more food stuff. So I had to go back and shoot another 3 months with no extra pay in addition to that to get more food. So that became a huge problem.
And that was a big critique in the media. When that show first came out, the critique was, we like Scott, and we like this, but what is this doing on Food Network?
I was the only Food Network celebrity that was on a chef.
And it didn't, I don't know at that
and
time.
And I think the show would have been received differently if it had been on Bravo, a TLC. If it had been on TLC and it had been sandwiched somewhere around Say Yes to the Dress or Four Weddings, I think it would have been perceived differently.
Now here's the things. We talk about demographics. We talk all the time about knowing your audience. And this is Food Network that I think made the biggest mistake out of all of it is not knowing what their audience wanted. The name of the network is Food Network. And this was very much an entertainment style show. And not knocking Scott, because he went out and just, knocked it out of the park, doing what he did. But like Wendy just said, you put this on Bravo, and you, just like Paula Dean introduced him, this is our new boy, this is Scott. And introducing him, if you would have put him on Say Yes to the Dress for like 4 episodes, and introduced the audience to Scott on 4 episodes to Say Yes to the Dress, and then be like, hey, by the way, he's got this new show, Bama Glamma. It's going to follow Say Yes to the Dress. So you have a lead-in, you have an introduction, then you have the hit show, and you have Scott's show following, and you get a bleed-over audience that goes from one show to the next.
Well, it's like what they're doing on TLC right now. They have the big Sister Wives show. They've got another show called Seeking Sister Wives. It has nothing to do with the other one, but they play it right after, so it leads into it.
Leading in with one programming to the other. So we always talk about demographics and knowing your audience. It's also knowing your lineup of how to take one show and launch a new show and bleed that same demographic into the new show. And that's Food Network, and I felt they did such a poor job. And when I watched the show, that's what I was so angry about, is because I thought they set Scott up to fail instead of succeed because of poor demographic planning. And I think that's why I spent so much time in the first couple of classes. Sorry, I'm getting angry. The first couple of classes
TJ in a soapbox.
Talking about demographics and talking about knowing your audience, because in the back of my mind, the biggest example I ever saw was Scott and Food Network. And we're not talking Joe Blow cable access over here, guys. We're talking Food Network. Those are six-figure people that should know better, that make just the worst business decision in entertainment I've seen.
And it's so political. I keep saying it's political, but it really is. And it could be a situation, I had an entertainment lawyer say this to me, and it could be the truth. He said, they probably didn't even have any intention of keeping that show. They might have purchased that show just to keep somebody else from
to keep Bravo from making it a hit.
Right.
Just because Bravo and Food Network have a similar demographic, and if they can bomb Scott out, it keeps their viewers from changing that channel to go to Bravo or Oxygen or We. And one more thing on that contract a little bit. I don't want to hit home too much personal, but they had a pretty strong non-compete. And you guys are young. You may not know what a non-compete is. If you go to work for me and I make you sign a contract, it may say that you can't go do broadcasting of any form or fashion within a certain radius for a certain time period. So I might say it'd be like, KJ, if I signed you to play for my team, my sports team, I would say I've got this new sport. But if you sign with my new sport and my team, you can't leave after I fire you and go play NFL. And you can't do it for 2 years. So that's called a non-compete. And with a 1099, it's so interesting to have a non-compete as a 1099 because a 1099, you don't work for the company. You're an independent contractor, but yet they're holding you to a company jail cell to where you can't go anywhere else to produce what it is you do. And you had a 2-year media non-compete, if I remember correctly. It's been
I had to get permission to even go on my local TV.
Yeah, 2 years media. So media means any mainstream, not just having his own show, but appearing as a guest on anybody else's.
Yeah, even when as far as to say if there was something on Facebook or social media that they did not approve of, then they had the right to simply take it down.
And there's our example right
They
there.
basically
That
own you.
we say all the time that social media, Facebook is broadcasting, that you're one click away from going viral. There's a great example that is even in a major network's non-compete clause in a contract.
Yeah, and then the other thing, you saw my TMZ appearance. You just said, I made TMZ.
No, I didn't know he made TNT.
It was.
Okay, what happened now, Scott?
This is hilarious. So everybody knows who Guy Fieri is?
Yes.
Okay, so this is good. So my manager calls me one day and he's like, you're on TMZ, and I was like, oh my God, because I had just been like clubbing in Atlanta. I was like, oh my God, what is it going to be?
Scott's
I'm
going through
tipping
his
a
whole
stripper.
list. Which one? He's like,
I'm
okay, they only
strip
call
club,
this
strip
one.
club, strip club. Oh my God. And so he goes, it's not that bad. And I said, what is it? And he's like, just look. And so I get on there, and it's a picture of me, wearing my big shades, and I'm like, at some kind of appearance, and I'm like this. And it's got a picture of Guy Fieri with his shades. We're wearing like the exact same shirt.
Oh, I do remember that.
And it said, Guy Fieri versus Gay Fieri.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
He's very happy.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Yeah, very happy.
So that was my TMZ appearance. So then, my mom, I'm like, oh my God, my family's going to see it. It's. That's what it said. But so it was adventures around every corner. It was good. It was bad. It was people. The one thing my producer said to me when I signed on the dotted line, I signed my life away. He said, before you sign it, I want to say one thing. And I'm like, okay, and I'm like anxious to sign it because it's been going on for months and months between the entertainment lawyers. And he said, I want you to know this before you sign it. He said, your life is about to totally change, which it did. And he said, the people who are your best friends now will not be the same people that are your friends a year from now. And I remember thinking, no, because I've got great friends. It was so accurate, so accurate. And if I would have listened to him more, looking back, what happens once you're on TV? People that have been my friends for 25 years are totally turned against you for no reason. And I don't know if it's the jealousy thing. I don't know. People, and you start hearing rumors about yourself that aren't true. And I remember hearing something going, what? That's crazy. Where did that come from? And to come to find out, it was like a girl that I've been friends with for 25 years. So,
and it filters down. Wendy and I heard some things too, and I would tell people
I had never
had anything but success with Scott, and that's what I would tell people. Well, did you hear that? I was like, look, I've worked with him 1,000 times. I've never had anything but success, and I've never seen anything but successful productions. I was like, I think you're running, and I think it filters down. A lot of it is the jealousy. It's kind of like the thing of if you're the one guy that makes it out of your high school, people.
They're not going to have you the nicest about it.
Yeah, you're automatically the enemy. And I graduated high school with Taylor Hicks. I've known the guy since 7th grade. And a lot of that for him, too. When he won American Idol, there was a lot of people was like, oh, that's great for Taylor. And a lot of people was like, he was the biggest jerk. Yeah, he was. He was a nice guy. He was always a nice guy in high school. And at our reunion, he was a class act, man. He shook hands with everybody. He was not, Wendy laughs at it. He walked up to Wendy, hi, I'm Taylor. She's heard me talk about him 1,000 times.
I'm like, duh, I know who you are.
But you heard me talk about it even before the show.
Yeah.
But it does, and I've seen that with him a little bit, that it's almost his success has become a jealousy.
And you have to learn, like if you're in the position I was, I had to learn just not to look at that stuff. Because I would have people like message me, oh my God, have you seen this? Oh my God, have you seen this? And I just learned to put on blinders.
Such and such said this about you on Facebook or such,
And I remember one morning, a friend of mine called, he was like, have you seen the post about you passing out drunk on the sofa at a client's wedding. And I'm like, what? And sure enough, somebody had posted that they went to a wedding I did, and I was passed out drunk on the client's sofa in the house.
And
Which, if you know me, you know that's, I mean, when I'm doing weddings and events, I take it, I'm not saying I don't have cocktail or anything. Not when I'm working. And if you know me, you know how serious I take what I do. And that was so far from the truth, it's comical. But they put it out there.
And you wonder about the slander against a lot of celebrities. Not that I ever feel bad for a lot of big name celebrities, but you really do walk a fine line, even on, you know, where you went with Food Network. You know, you do walk you're being critiqued.
Well, all it takes is one slip. I mean, look, everybody thought Fergie was absolutely fantastic till she did the national anthem the other night. And now everybody, but everybody is all over her. It doesn't matter what fantastic things she's done, what great appearance she's done, how great Black Eyed Peas were.
That's now her newest legacy. You're only as good as whatever you did 5 minutes ago.
One bad national anthem and...
Fergie sounded like that's me in the shower.
Wendy, how are we doing on time?
We're good. We got like 10 minutes.
Okay. Why don't I let y'all ask some questions, just because I would love to hear your thoughts, whether it's PR, production related, or just about Scott. I would love to kind of hear y'all's
Yeah,
thoughts.
ask me anything. I'm not scared.
I'm sitting there on Andrew. Okay, we can't tell that story, Scott. We can't. That stays. Yeah.
Any questions?
So you plan weddings?
I do. I plan weddings, and the thing I do that's different. I'm a wedding planner. I specialize in flowers.
Okay.
I'm known for my flowers, and definitely get on Facebook. My name is Scot Scot Wedgeworth. You'll see some of my stuff, but I'm a wedding planner that plans every little aspect. From I help with the design of the cake, selection of linens, lighting, everything. I've got a bride right now that she wants me there every second. We went last week. I went. We were trying her dresses. I went. We did her engagement. I'm there every second for every moment. Just
Think of it
keep
more like a
calm.
live production event manager.
Yeah.
Because when we're saying weddings, we don't mean little local wedding over here on the corner. It might be, but Scott specializes in
Big open
macro,
yeah.
big, and his weddings are more like a production. And I think that's why they originally saw it as being such a good fit on television, because when you watch Scott in action, he's more producing and directing, and it seemed natural to have a camera filming that process.
Right, and that's what I was going to say a minute ago. One thing I think that one of the errors that they made is if you, and I know TJ said some of you may be going into event planning. Event planning, the nature of the beast is craziness anyway. No matter what you do, it's down to the last minute. No matter what you do, things are going wrong left and right. And one thing that I kept telling them, if you want good TV, just film. That's all you got to do is just film. And they kept creating these situations, trying to create situations. And I think it really ended up taking away from the show because they would create these crazy scenarios that would never even happen. For example, I did a wedding out on Smith Lake, and they were filming. And I show up, and out of nowhere, there's this chick in a bikini shows up. And I'm like, what? And in my earpiece, I hear, okay, this is your new employee, Brooke. She's going to help you put tablecloths on. I'm like, what? And so it's this girl like in this little bitty bikini. And she's like playing the dumb woman. She's like, oh God, can I help you with the tablecloths? And I'm like telling her what table this goes on. She's getting them mixed up. You know, it just got crazy to the point that I just like took my mic off and I'm like, this is ridiculous. But they created these scenarios that were so crazy that would not have even ever happened. I mean, if I'm a professional, I'm not going to have some chicken when you show up for a tablecloths. Where I think if they would have just stood back and filmed and watched the nature of how the business works, it would have been perfect.
And if you've ever been to one of Scott's events, literally, it would make it. Rock the Runway could have been a small half-hour show.
Episodes.
Yeah, easily. But even without your show, I would have watched it.